Welcome to the Latino Podcast, where we discuss the intersection of law and our Latino communities with legal, political, and community leaders and visionaries. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of the Latino Podcast, where we discuss the intersection of law, culture, and our Latino communities. Each episode, we sit down with attorneys, judges, local leaders, politicians, and the influential voices shaping the California-Baja corridor. As always, this episode is brought to you by Gomez Trial Attorneys, a binacional, bicultural, and best-in-class law firm based in San Diego and serving the entire California-Baja corridor. Gomez Trial Attorneys provides the highest level of legal representation in both the English and Spanish languages to victims of personal injury, employment violations, and civil rights abuses. It is also the largest Latino-owned law firm in California. Today, I'm so happy to have here Kathia Bustillos, the Executive Director of the Foundation for the Children of the Californias. We are going to be exploring her background. We are going to be exploring her binational ties, her political campaign at one point, her big role with Televisa in Tijuana, Mexico, and then also, her ties to this community. Kathia, welcome. How about you give us a little short intro about yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. And it's a delight to share this with you this moment. So my name is Kathia Bustillos Iturralde. I was born in Mexico City. I did most of my studies over there. And then I studied administration, management, finance, and marketing at Tivero University in Mexico City. And at some point, one of my marketing professors said, there's someone that needs someone like you, a vice president of Televisa. And I'm like, no. I'm not going to get involved in Televisa. My plans were to work in Bimbo, Palmolive, all those marketing brands that were very strong at that time. And he continued to ask me to go and have the interview. And at some point I just did and said, okay, fine. He said, what's the worst that could happen? You just say no and that's it. So I did. I went and interviewed with that time the vice president of expansion of Televisa Group, Ingeniero Jorge Canaguati. And to my surprise, I ended working 2 weeks after that. Of course, I hadn't finished the career, so I said I would be willing to work with you as long as I can finish my career. So that's what I did. And I spent 4.5 years in Mexico City working for Televisa and that vice presidency. And it was very interesting. It was something that it was not planned, basically. I just got involved into very interesting projects like Satélite Morelos and the Channel 2 stations that were put everywhere in Mexico so that Channel 2 could reach every corner of Mexico. And so I have to deal a lot with engineers. I learn a lot. I learn a lot about digital things and also platforms, but we also service special events. And also we were in charge of giving facilities to the Chapultepec, where the news broadcasts were done. And then also San Angel, as you know, that's the Televisa's dreams or factory of dreams. That's right. How they call it. So it was very interesting because we have so many ways to go around. But at some point, it had always been my dream to come and study a master's degree in the U.S. So I was single. I said, I don't have anything that ties me to Mexico. So this is my time. So I can come and study that. So I was looking for the father of strategic management, and I found him in a small university here in San Diego. So San Diego was my destiny. I came here. Of course, my boss didn't want me to leave, and he said, no, go and study and come back. And I say, no, I cannot have that kind of promise to you because I don't know what I'm going to encounter while I do my master's degree. So that's what happened. I left. I resigned to Televisa, so I came here. I did my master's degree at USIU with Igor Ansov, who is the father of the strategic management movement. And then it was very interesting because instead of going back, I really felt like this was home again. And San Diego and Tijuana was flourishing at that time, and I had a business of 4 maquiladoras, advising them in the Mexican side. And my partner, who I met at the MBA, she did the American side, so it was perfect. And maquiladora was just starting, so it was really, really good to start that business and learn how we live in one region, but 2 countries, different government styles, different way of processing things. And that's when it hit me that really this was a place that would flourish, like I said before, as long as we were committed to work as a team, and that's what I've seen over the past, I don't know how many years now, and I don't want to count them because it's a ton. But nevertheless, it's very interesting. And I think unless you really live here, you will understand what binational means, what bicultural means, and bilingual, of course, because you have to be able to speak both languages so that you can communicate conveniently. By then, Televisa turned and pay more attention to the different stations in each state of Mexico. And they had a plan to bring them up again and really make them work. And it was the local voice of the communities that was important.
And especially in the northern border, right? Something that was not exploited. And then just for purposes of some of our listeners who may not fully understand what Televisa is and its cultural impact and its political impact, can you tell us a little bit about what Televisa is, still is, and what the current impact is as well?
Yeah, Televisa started as a radio station first and owned by the Azcárraga family. And then they discovered television. Actually, they had 4 channels, Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 9. And they were the biggest conglomerate of production of Spanish content in the world. Actually, the novelas was their prime product, probably still is right now, although it has transformed and changed. Those novelas have been dubbed into every imaginable language. I mean, Chinese, Turkish, I don't know, whatever they speak in South Africa. So what they do is they produce content for Hispanic communities, the ones that speak Spanish, but also they export a ton of products that they have, especially, like I say, novela or soap operas that are known here in US. And that's what they do. But they also have this knowledge of the communities, of what they take. News is a very important part of it. Sports is also. They own Club America, who is the flagship of the teams, and has
soccer team, or what they call it, football.
Football in Mexico and soccer here in the US. So yeah, they have cable, they have digital content, they have all these. So they have learned how to reach the communities, especially the Hispanic. And like David said, here in the border, it was complicated how to reach, because being this region is not as Mexico City or any other state in Mexico. So we had to build a very a mix of both cultures. And so that brings me that they sent someone to be director of Televisa Tijuana and Channel 12. And most of the Tijuanans have grown with that channel, watching that channel, because it was a local channel, but still it didn't really fulfill its mission of covering the entire
The region, the south border, the north border. And when you said that, it covers the people from Tijuana, and I guess the issue was maybe, well, you have the Mexicans that were born in Mexico, in Tijuana or Mexico City, that went to Tijuana. And then you also have the Mexicans, Mexican Americans, right? That already like grew up in the US with another culture. So I guess that was one of the complications as to how to target both communities.
Very complicated, yes. So what we did is they hired me back, and I thought that I was not coming ever to Televisa, but
it was your
28
destiny,
years later, I was still there. So anyways, when we started rebuilding the local channel, Channel 12, we realized that we really needed to get the Hispanic community in San Diego. So we had to have a programming that was appealing for everyone, of course in Spanish, but still timing, content, different things that were relevant for them so that we could have them. The first thing that we did is put more power in our transmitter, turn it to San Diego so that it could reach San Diego. Yes. And so we covered Tijuana and as far as the high hills in LA. And so what we did was, okay, what is I would say the schedule of the Hispanics in US? And so we decided that to have a newscast at 6 p.m. would make sense, because that's the time that most of the US channels have a newscast. And then we always had the night,
of course,
news that cover both, and we tried to do it more regional so that we had news in Tijuana and San Diego and Ensenada and Mexicali and Imperial Valley and what have you. So
was the 6 p.m. News unprecedented for Televisa in Mexico?
Oh yes.
Okay.
When we told them that we were going to put a newscast at 6, they were like, "What?
Why?
Are you crazy?"
And I guess it came to you to actually explain why, the reason behind it was, right?
Right.
Cultural from the U.S., San Diego.
And that newscast was devoted to the San Diego community.
Okay.
So we also had to hire reporters that could speak English and Spanish and that understand the Hispanic community in San Diego, and reporters and photojournalists and what have you. So the news grew tremendously because we had to cover all this and also make sense that what was important for the Hispanic community in San Diego that we needed to report. So it was very interesting. We learned so much, but that was the way that we also fulfilled the mission of being a local station.
Right.
It was, okay, we listen to the voices in Mexico, but we listen to the voices in the US. So we try to make a coordinated effort so that also both countries, both cities could talk to each other and understand more what was happening. So that was what we did, and we started doing a ton of things in the US side as well. And programs, and we had a children's club that we had it here and there, and so we have events that we did here also with our sponsors. We got sponsors from the US as well. So it was an incredible journey, really, to figure out what we could do in the US.
So you formed part of, actually growing Televisa to its, current standard. Uh, how did you get to that, CEO position, executive director position of Televisa during those times where it was, primarily a male-dominated market? Again, being Televisa, the largest, TV station in Mexico. What was your journey? How did you get there? How did you, I don't want to say fight those who were basically obstacle to your journey, but how do you approach that during those times?
It was a difficult journey, to say the least, because, like you say, it was mostly men, and I was the only woman, So you have to break that glass ceiling and that understanding that it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. If you're capable, you have the ability, you have the commitment, you have the loyalty, you work all those hours are needed because we worked 24/7, Saturday and Sunday. And I mean, I took my kids to events with me because I was working, and they went to the station with me as well. So it's a commitment to excellence, I would say. And that's what make probably the difference. Also, I think my generation, the women, we got degrees. We went to college. We went to the university. We had an MBA. So on the education side, I think that we proved that we were capable as men, and that we could work same or even more hours than they did. And they saw the value of women coming to the workforce.
Right.
It was very difficult because usually it was all men. So cultural changes came slowly. I was the first manager, one of the first managers in Televisa. Then I was one of the first directors in Televisa Mexico. And then that was the way that we started, building the understanding that we were not challenging the men culture, but rather helping them in areas that we are better.
Right.
Like intuitive, we're more intuitive than men just by gender. And some other things that we could brought to the table that makes sense to what we were building at that time. So I had the honor to work for Emilio Azcárraga, Milmo, the tiger, El Tigre, everyone
right?
knew him, yeah. And then one of the interesting changes that happened was that he sent his son to be trained at the border and at his own station, Channel 6, that then was Fox, a Fox station affiliate. He sent his son to be trained in that station. And, well, in a way, he worked with us. And that generation understood better the role of women in the workforce and how much it could be beneficial for Televisa to have them at all these different levels in management and what have you. So I had the honor also to train Emilio, who is now the president of the board of Televisa Group, and Jose Baston, Pepe Baston, who was one of his best friends. And so they understood better how this could be really good for the company.
Good.
And so we started, and of course it was a lot of mentorship that we had to do, women that we reach certain ranks or certain management positions, that we would mentor more women into other roles or positions so that we could start growing that. So,
and I use the term unprecedented because when you said ranks, I'm assuming at one point maybe women would reach a certain level and that would be like the top line, right?
Oh yeah, it was like the top, and then you challenge them, right? So for me, after So I worked for Televisa Baja California, and now it's Televisa Californias because it involves
Join the
yeah, exactly the
binational.
binational thing. Um, I was the first woman to be CEO of a local station. And of course, I mean, some of the people say, oh, how lucky you are. I'm like, no, it's not luck. It's really hard work. I worked 4.5 years in Mexico City, and here in the California region, I worked for 28. So it's not luck.
Right. It's hard work,
It's hard
consistency,
work. It's
persistence.
committing. It was a goal of mine. And uh, people at Televisa understood that, and they gave me that chance. And I, of course, make the best of it.
Good.
Yes. So I got first Tijuana and Ensenada, and because we were the first station that year, they gave me as a prize Mexicali as well. So I had the whole thing.
Surprise.
Yeah, that was a prize, especially in summer. So, so it was really interesting, and we made a lot of changes as well. And but just with that mission in mind, that we were a region and we were the voice of everyone in our region. So that was basically it.
Wow, what a journey. Would you say that, well, one, you have the experience with Televisa in Mexico City, already working with directors over there. Would you say that you having that education in San Diego, your master's degree, your connection to San Diego, was that one of the reasons, well, I guess one of the reasons why you were very knowledgeable about the region, why they wanted you as the CEO? I'm assuming that had a lot of impact, right?
Yeah, it did because they realized that the knowledge of the community, of the binational, because we had friends here and there
Right.
and everywhere, and they thought that that was not at some point from Tijuana we were managing the whole border.
Right.
And it was an experiment. It was a pilot program that, how about if we have a border uh, stations, that have the same feeling, that understand both entities, And it was very interesting because we also realized that the border in California is not the same as the border in Texas, and it's not the same as the border with Tamaulipas.
Right.
So, or Chihuahua. So that was also a lesson that we learned, that it's not always the same, that it works even though we're border towns.
Right.
So it was a lot of learning that we had to do. And again, even though it was a border community of stations that were aligned, but they each had their own common things because the communities were different. Like, for instance, in Texas, they have been there the longest than here in California.
Would that be like El Paso or San Antonio or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So that was a lesson that we had to learn as well, because we thought that if we took the California model and put it in Texas, say San Antonio, that it would work.
Right. Okay.
And then we realized that no. We had to customize it for the people that lived.
For the region.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the makeup of people are very different, right? They come from, unique backgrounds.
Right.
But your focus was always a Cali-Baja region, as we call it, right?
Yes.
I feel like we use this term more consistently now here at the podcast based on our current guests. Cali-Baja region, right?
Oh, yes. And I think that it had been used more often because people have understand that that's what we are.
Right.
At some point, people ask me, with being two countries, and I say, well, borders don't understand about that because the communities work as a team. And that's a resilience of the border towns like the Cali-Baja.
Right.
You meet these groups that understand it, and it doesn't matter if you're in Tijuana or in San Diego, you work as a team. And you are most likely to make it work because you understand what it takes, you know? So that's why the term, mega regions, San Diego-Tijuana and Cali-Baja and all those terms, I think that people now understand fully understand what it means and what is needed.
Right. Do you feel like, because I understand that this is, based on our prior conversation and prior to the podcast, so I understand you have a public relations company.
Yes.
Would you say that, your company has been assisted by this region? Because again, you have the unique understanding through Televisa and your work there. And then also the fact that the public relations company is on both sides of the border. Would you say that this binational perspective helps your clients when they come to you?
Absolutely. Because we have clients in Tijuana that want to do business in San Diego.
Okay.
And when we have clients in San Diego that want to do business in Tijuana, but they don't fully understand how it works.
Right.
And then we have some that want to work both ways. So if you don't fully understand and you cannot communicate this correctly, this will not work.
Right.
And it's amazing, but some people in San Diego, they have never been to Tijuana. Imagine that.
Yeah, that's why they don't understand the actual relation to
Exactly.
the border.
It's like they think we're like so far away, but we're not. We're here.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I go to a lot to attorney conferences, legal conferences. There was a legal conference in town, which was actually, held here at the Marriott, close to our office, overlooking Playas de Tijuana.
Right.
The interesting thing, it was people from, the Midwest, East U.S., and they were asking me, like, so where is Tijuana? We've heard that Tijuana is very close. So it just took me a little turn and actually pointing south to let them know that that was Tijuana.
Yeah. People, especially like you say, that are not from California, I would say, they are amazed that you can go back and forth, Tijuana, San Diego, and San Diego, Tijuana, the same day.
Right.
It's like, how come? How can you do it? I'm like, well, that's how we do.
People do it every day. We have a lot of clients that we are fortunate to represent that they cross the border every day for work, or they live here and they have companies in Mexico. It's this unique, region that crosses borders.
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
And we always love talking about that. Let me switch the focus here a little bit. I know we also spoke about your brief moment on, politics. Regional politics.
Oh, yes.
Maybe a mayoral campaign. What do you tell us about that and how you got to that point on saying, okay, right now I'm down with Televisa. I have my public relations company, which also helps with politics, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it does.
Who asked you, or how do you get into politics?
Okay. So at some point, I left Televisa because enough was enough after 32 years. It was going to kill me 24/7. And the stress that you live with it. I mean, you don't know until you really live it. And my fellow televisions, I would say they understand that.
And the funny thing, you mentioned stress. And it was interesting, the fact that then you switched to politics to get away from the stress, but I guess not really, huh?
Yeah. No. Well, probably most of it was that at that time, I thought that I could do more things for my community.
Okay.
That's what prompted me to accept. So at that time, I had left Televisa. I was working with a PR, that it's another story and very interesting as well. And one of my causes has always been Hospital Infantil de las Californias. That we'll talk later about it. So I was I was board chair for their foundation in Tijuana for 4 years, and then I accepted to be the CEO for the hospital during COVID. Of course, we didn't know that COVID was coming until it came, and so I usually dare to do things that are hard. I feel that that's the way I worked. So I had 2 years as CEO of the hospital, and then I left the hospital, and one of my friends invited me and he said, you know what? We need to talk. I really need you to offer something. And I'm like, oh, okay. And we had breakfast and he said, you know what? We need you as a candidate for this party. And I'm like, oh, you must be kidding. No, no, no. You're perfect. You know the region. You da 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 da. You know a ton of people. Da, da, da. And I know that you have the intention to do something for your community because you have always done that.
And this was for the Tijuana, for the city of Tijuana, correct?
That was, yeah, that was for, it was the mayor race for Tijuana. Yes, I dare to do that. So, God. And
Which, a lot, again, for our listeners who don't understand like the power of Tijuana, this was like the fourth largest and powerful city in Mexico, right?
Yes, yes. Not only in, I would say, economics, but also in leadership, because a lot of companies in Mexico that wanted to try products or services, and this is very interesting, they did it in Tijuana as a pilot test. Just because Tijuana is made of not only people that are born in Tijuana, but all of us that came from different places. So it's a perfect market when you need to do a pilot test of a new service, a new product. So many companies did this in Tijuana, and it was so interesting. So, nevertheless, the party was Partido de Baja California. It was a local party, small one, but that had been, running and trying to do changes and had people involving government roles and what have you. So I dared to do that, and it was quite an experience. I thought that by my being the CEO of Televisa in Tijuana, that I knew Tijuana. No, I did not. I mean, with the campaign, I went to all these places that I thought never existed in Tijuana. And I learned of so many needs and so many communities and so many things that happened that I was just like overwhelmed of the amount of people that lived in Tijuana, really. And of course, I didn't win, but nevertheless,
was that a blessing or a curse? Not winning.
I think that, I mean, at some point you have to try, and that was my try.
Good.
I wanted to give back to a community that had given me so much in my life. So it was okay, I can do this, and I'm sure that I can do so many changes for the good of my community that, well, at least I have to try. And I think that there's two ways to help your community. One is being involved and being part of the government. Another, whatever you're doing, there's still chances that you can make changes and you can help and do good things for the community as well. So this was my try being part of the government. But I was really happy because back then, with the group that I formed to be part of my staff, I said, why if we start putting in place the programs that we're preaching and we don't wait until we win so that they are in place? And so we start the parks in the city. There are a ton of parks, but they are,
I mean, they're open lots with no grass,
exactly,
no trees.
Exactly.
Understand.
So what we did was we painted them, we collected garbage, we put some things that would help the community, whatever. And then we formed a comité de vecinos so that once it was refurbished, then I will give it to you and you will take care of this for your children, for the community that lives around the park.
So you're basically, your efforts would, improve the community, and then you guys created a community of neighbors,
right,
to actually, upkeep it.
Yes, they were the guardians of the park.
Okay.
So that they will keep it the same way that we gave it to them,
And all of
and
this
safe.
and safe, yeah.
And safe for the children as
Good.
well, so that they could go and play and enjoy it and what have you. So that was one of the programs. We started also the neutering of pets, especially dogs and cats that live on the streets. And that was important also because there's a ton of,
And still to this day, right?
yeah, still to these days. So that we started the read a book with different communities. So the good thing that happened, even though we didn't win, first we put them in place, and then the second part was that the mayor at that time took some of them and implemented as part of their government. So
Good.
it was really good. It was really nice.
Good. So post Televisa, post politics, it seems like you started implementing a lot of community efforts. And then one of the things that, stuck with me is the fact that, you were going to these communities in Tijuana that you had never heard about. You were listening to that community. Now, tell us, and we'll jump into the foundation. Now tell us how, knowing that community, learning about what people need, what, children need, how that translates into your current position as executive director of the Foundation for the Children of the Californias. And then also, what is the tie between the foundation and the actual hospital in Tijuana?
Yes. So after my failure as a politician, but that was okay. I learned so much, and I met so many people that I can call my friends now. And so the Hospital Infantil de las Californias is held by 3 foundations, one in Tijuana, one in the US, San Diego, and one in Canada. So the board members of the Foundation of the Children of the Californias invited me to be part of their board. And so I started as that. And then I became the board chair and then the CEO of that foundation. And we have, our mission is to enhance the nutrition and health of underserved children in the San Diego mega region, San Diego-Tijuana mega region, primarily through Hospital Infantil de las Californias. So what we do is we're a fundraiser and we fund programs for the children at the hospital, not only at the hospital, but anywhere, but mainly through the hospital.
Okay. So the Hospital Infantil de las Californias in Tijuana, would that be a similar effort like, I don't know, Radies in San Diego, something like that?
It is. It is. It's a hospital that it's wholly dedicated to pediatric healthcare.
Okay.
And what happens there is they have 25 subspecialties, and they have 3 surgery rooms for surgery. And the other thing is, if you don't have, they work through recovery fees. But if you are not able or capable to pay that recovery fee, then you go to social work. And social work determines if there's a fund that can help you pay the recovery fee.
Okay. Would that be one of your primary responsibilities in the U.S. to do the fundraiser to make sure that those funds are available to those kids in needs in Tijuana?
Yes, that's one of our primarily goals. So, for instance, we opened the cleft lip and palate clinic. And everything that we do it holistic, meaning that every single treatment that we provide for the children, it's multidisciplinary. For instance, for the cleft lip and palate, that it's funded by the Dole Foundation, what we do is we do the surgery for the kid. But not only that, we also take care of dental, speech therapy, nutrition, and psychology, and anything that the kid needs, so that it's really a complete, like I said, holistic treatment. And you take care of each of the areas that that child needs in order to thrive in life.
Okay. That's a very interesting goal. And I'm assuming that keeps you, pretty busy. And basically, so this connection, like, what are some of the efforts that the foundation has in San Diego? I understand, the goal. What are some of the efforts, if you want to, tell our listeners, galas, events?
So we have three pillars. One of the pillars is to provide health, and mostly we do it through the hospital. But we also want to lead pediatric health. And on that end, we have recover the binational pediatric symposium. And last year we did it in Tijuana, in Universidad Xochicalco. And this is a great effort because we have themes that are interesting for both communities. So we have pediatricians from San Diego as well from Tijuana that speak about the same issue, like, for instance, the increase of measles that was controlled, but since now some people do not believe in vaccines, measles is coming back. And that's an issue for California and for Baja as well. So we put that on the table and we discuss it and find ways how we can approach that so that it's not an epidemic anymore.
Yeah, because one borderline is I gotta, stop a disease from actually being on both sides.
Of course. And this year, so we're going to do it in April in San Diego, location to be decided. But that's the efforts that we do by national. We also have we have strategic relationships with the Del Mar Fair, that they provide the toys that we give to the children that undergo surgery in the hospital, for instance. We have a new program for mental health that is called Puentes de Bienestar, or Bridges to Wellness, that is for teenagers, and it's a AI-driven program in which we address depression and anxiety in teenagers, mostly Spanish speaking, but if that works, we're willing to go also, English speaking. So there are several things that we are trying to do here in San Diego, and we have collaboration with a ton of different institutions that we say, like, we work with YMCA, we work with Catholic Charities, we work with Ronald McDonald House, we work with Radies, of course. They have been partners with us for forever. And what we're trying to do is we want to have really comprehensive health for children. And we're striving for preventing instead of resolution,
right? Yeah,
that's a cultural change that we want to introduce to our kids, that instead of waiting until the end, if they can prevent, it's better.
Yeah, preventive medicine. I love what you said about AI, because now AI, everyone knows about AI. A lot of people are using it. We implemented it in our office to make sure that it helps our cases. But how is AI being used to assist these teenagers who are in need of, some mental assistance?
Yes. One of the things that I want to go back to the hospital is that they accept all children.
Okay.
It doesn't matter where you come from, because they also have a very strong telehealth program.
Okay.
And the thing being is that we take care of a lot of children that leave, that either they're U.S. citizens or U.S. residents, and they go to the hospital as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a large population of U.S. kids also. So when they say, well, yeah, it's in Mexico, there is in Tijuana, well, it's 5 minutes from the outside port of entry. But basically, it takes care of every child. It doesn't matter. So, and going back to Puentes de Bienestar, what we have is we have a 10 session with a psychologist, and we do it through telehealth. So it's once a week with that psychologist, and that is the way that the kid gets a treatment. But then again, the kids if it's once a week, they have a ton of time. And we realized that a ton of teenagers were using ChatGPT to confine, to learn.
Diagnose their own.
Aha, exactly. To talk as a friend or something that could listen to them. So we got, this is an app that is AI driven, but it's specifically for mental health. It's developed by psychologists and for people that study for that. It's not your chat GPT. So we give this app to the child as well as one of the parents or tutors, and they use it 24/7. And what we get with this is first is companionship, I would say, for the teenager, that whenever they feel that they are anxious or depressed, that they can go to the app. They do exercises that the app gives them, and it's like a follow through, like, okay, breathe with me, and let's do this, and let's do that. And how are you feeling? Tell me this and tell me that. And also, by the end of the week, the psychologists get the report from the AI use of this app. And so the psychology can have a better of the understanding of a whole week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it works better for the treatment.
Interesting.
And also on that app, okay, so everything's confidential. So meaning that the information that the kid puts into the interaction with the app is private. Only the psychologists know, and the teenager. And the one that we give to the parent is so that they understand what their child is doing.
Is going through or is doing.
And actually, it could help them as well.
Okay, good.
Yes. And there's a crisis or a panic button. So in case it really goes bad or it's too anxious or too depressed, they can click that, and it's tied to the 911 crisis center in San Diego, meaning that they will get respond immediately.
Oh, amazing.
Yes. So
wow. So Puentes de Bienestar, how can people connect with either the foundation or the hospital to be able to access this?
they can go to our website, and we have their way to register, or they can call us to the foundation. So it's very simple to register. It just has to be a teenager that wants to get involved into the program, and we have to have the authorization of the parent or tutor for this because they are minors.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing efforts by your foundation, especially getting into technology and AI. And again, and this is going back to Televisa, actually, screening your market, make sure that you're understanding who is going to you.
Yeah.
I think that's, very recognizable. And, we appreciate your efforts.
Thank you so much.
So at this point, you're already going into technology, AI. What do you envision for the foundation moving forward, going into the future?
Yeah, playing a bigger role in pediatric health in San Diego. I think that some of our board members say we're the best kept secret in San Diego. And so we want to share with everyone what we're doing and get as much help as possible. That's our goal, that they know us, they like us, and they help us do our mission.
Good. And you're the to-go person, right? Especially being here in San Diego, being at the events, being, such a great person, great personality, and great stories, right? Like, everything that we've heard today. We're getting close to the end of our program here. And, Kathia, we ask all of our guests, we are also, the clients that we represent, they've gone through a difficult situation. Either it's an accident or they're being discriminated at work. They didn't respect their pregnancy discrimination. So a lot of times they do need the help of someone local, right? Let's say if you or a loved one were injured here in San Diego, and you had to choose between hiring a lawyer from San Diego that understands this unique region, the Baja region, the cross-border, and hiring an attorney from out of town, maybe LA or Northern California, who would you go with?
No, I would go with the local. We have been talking all this podcast about it. You have to go to the people that understands the region and knows how to help you, because it's very different than someone that knows the border region and someone that is out of this border region. And like I say, you have to leave it to understand it. And for the people that you help, it will only make sense to me that they will go to you because you're here. Because I believe that most of the people, and I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure that the people, if you go to LA, they will hire someone local to represent the client.
Right, because they understand the region.
Exactly. So my only advice would be to go to someone that is knowledgeable of the Cali-Baja region, but also that is knowledgeable of the things that you need, So you have to trust that person, especially if it's a matter of law.
Right.
That sometimes we don't know the full extent or the differences in one country or the other. So I guess that you will be my choice.
Perfect. Appreciate that response, especially, being local, you being informed of the binational ties. Thank you for explaining that. And then let me close out with, John Gomez, our CEO. He generally asks one question at the end of every podcast. And it goes like this. If you could put one message in the sky for everyone to see, what would it be?
Oh my God.
I put you in the spot, huh?
Yeah, it's so broad though. I think that one of the things that I would say would be respect everyone and respect yourself.
I love that.
Yeah.
Kathia, thank you for being here. Again, Kathia, the Executive Director of Foundation for the Children of California, was here. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your insights, your journey into a male-dominated market. We look forward to working with you, to seeing you at one of these galas or events that you are a fan of. Thank you again. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. Glad to be here.
Thank you for listening to the Latino Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.